Cops totally abusing their powers is not something new, and the majority of times, a common man cannot do much about it.
You don't know me.
Stomping on people, paralyzing them, and giving them brain bleeds seems to be these cops' favorite hobby. Not even children are safe from them. And it's rare to see them getting retribution, but when they do, it's a sight to see. Here are the top 8 times evil cops got what they deserved. In January 2020, what should have been a routine school day for a 5-year-old boy at East Silver Spring Elementary turned into a nightmare when 2 Montgomery County police officers responded to a call about the child walking out of school. Instead of handling the situation with care, they chose intimidation.
How old are you? 5. You feel like you can make your own decisions? You feel like you can do what you want? Are you an adult? Are you 18? So why are you outside of school? Look at me.
And force on a literal child.
I don't want to go. I don't care. You don't make that decision for yourself.
The body cam footage, released soon after the case, revealed the officers yelling at the child, grabbing him by the arm, and even handcuffing him. At one point, one officer leaned down and screamed in the terrified boy's face, demanding, "Stop crying." The child, visibly shaking, couldn't contain his sobs. Later, the officers met with the boy's mother, Shanta Grant, explaining that her son had allegedly hit teachers, broken a $1,000 computer, and walked off school grounds.
He didn't hit the teacher.
Yeah,
he didn't hit children. He
hit the teacher with the basket.
I don't know.
He broke a $1,000 computer.
Grant filed a civil lawsuit shortly after the incident, accusing the officers of assault, false arrest, and emotional distress. Attorney Matthew Bennett, representing Grant, stated, "Our client seeks justice and fair compensation for the trauma her son endured. Even though the department conducted an internal investigation, the findings remained confidential." Both officers involved, Kevin Christman and Dion Holiday, remained employed and left many, like Councilman Will Jawando, demanding harsher consequences.
This level of abuse and suggesting that the mother break the law and ask, I hope that I can beat you and you should be beaten, you're a nasty little thing, those horrible things that were said. There's no excuse for that.
It was only after they were sued for $257,000 that they finally faced retribution. Putting an innocent child through something that might leave him traumatized for life cannot be excused. And as if traumatizing kids was not enough, this next video will show you how some of these cops also lack the emotional intelligence needed to interact with people with disabilities. On July 26th, a nightmare unfolded at Colleton Village Townhomes when Officer David Dukes responded to a call about a man allegedly armed with a gun. Upon arrival, he found Clarence Gaillard, 58, holding a stick, not a gun, which he used for defense against stray dogs. Gaillard, clearly disabled from a previous accident, struggled to comply when Dukes ordered him to the ground. Without warning, Duke's face twisted into an evil sneer as he approached Gaillard, now defenseless on his hands and knees. The arrest warrant described how Officer Dukes raised the poor man's right leg and stomped on his neck and/or head area. Gaillard's head slammed into the concrete, blood spilling from his face uncontrollably. Gaillard gasped in pain.
Yeah, I've been in an accident. Y'all bust my head down. You throw me down.
Expressing that he didn't have to be thrown down like that and noted his disability. In response, Dukes coldly stated that he sure did because Gaillard was not listening. Even with body cam footage capturing the entire event, Dukes lied, claiming he had fallen. Officer Polidor, however, bravely testified, revealing the truth that Dukes kicked Mr. Gaillard in the neck. Dukes was fired 2 days later, but Gaillard was left permanently scarred. Gaillard's lawyer, Justin Bamberg, pointed out,
"This is not an Officer David Dukes problem. This is a City of Orangeburg problem."
But it seems that this epidemic of evil cops is not just limited to Orangeburg, because this time, in Yuba City, cops managed to destroy an innocent and healthy man's life as they snatched away his ability to walk in a matter of just a few minutes. Gregory Gross, an Army veteran, secured a $20 million settlement after being violently injured during a traffic stop in Yuba City, California. In 2020, accused of driving under the influence, Gross was handcuffed and subjected to pain compliance techniques by police officers, despite repeatedly crying out that he couldn't feel his legs and that he couldn't breathe. Body cam footage shows officers slamming Gross to the ground outside a hospital, dismissing his cries as games.
Stand up.
You want to act like a man?
Okay, please. Let me up, please. Yeah.
With one officer cruelly stating that they were done with his silly little games. The incident left Gross with a broken neck, requiring multiple surgeries and rendering him permanently paralyzed. He now requires round-the-clock care for the rest of his life. The $20 million settlement, one of the largest police misconduct payouts in California history, also prompted reforms in Yuba City's police department. They agreed to conduct random audits of officers' body cam footage and review all use of force cases. At a press conference, Police Chief Brian Baker apologized to Gross, acknowledging that they missed the mark.
On April 12, 2020, we missed the mark. And for that, Mr. Gross, I'm sorry.
Gross and his partner, Deronda Harris, expressed relief that the settlement brought closure, though Gross stressed the importance of preventing similar tragedies. As part of the settlement, Gross also donated $20,000 to the California Peace Officers Memorial Foundation. While Gross made it out alive, next up is the story of a man who was subject to 9 long months of suffering resulting from the pure carelessness and negligence of these officers. Michael Scurlock, a 65-year-old man, was a kind-hearted person who lived with his sister. Although he had a drinking problem and has been arrested once in the past for public intoxication, he was a harmless old guy. In February 2022, Officer Michael McKinsley had his first encounter with Scurlock. It was after he was called to the scene when old Scurlock collided with a pickup truck while riding his bike. It was a minor collision, and by the time McKinsley arrived, Scurlock was on his feet, assuring the truck driver that he was all right.
I'm all right. So we're just, you all right?
However, Officer McKinsley threw him to the ground, and from the footage extracted from the officer's body-worn camera, it is clear that he was badly injured. In the video footage, you can hear him being slammed to the concrete, and soon after, Scurlock's head starts bleeding profusely. He spends nearly 3 minutes lying on the road like a dead body before finally responding. Initially, he declined medical help, but 17 hours into his time at jail, some serious symptoms of head trauma, like vomiting, dizziness, and inability to walk started appearing. The footage of him in jail is truly heartbreaking as he screams and cries out of pain.
Oh, man.
Okay, hey, you're gonna have to be quiet.
Yet the heartless law enforcement turn a blind eye to it. And just like that, the effects of the brain bleed started to take its toll. The old man slowly lost his vision and the ability to walk. And after 9 gruesome months in his cold, harsh cell, Michael Scurlock lost his life. 7 months later, a private investigator named Prado was hired to review Dickinson Police Department's cases, and Scurlock's case was a part of it. He busted all the hidden facts that favored Kinsley and revealed everything that was enough to get him fired. Though he received no punishment because he was declared innocent by an internal investigation, one thing is for sure that Kinsley is never climbing up the police ranks. The Dickinson City officials and higher-ups stated that they will be forever angry and disappointed with the injustice surrounding the case. McKinsey might have escaped justice for a time, but our next case proves not everyone is so fortunate. This officer had to put an end to his law enforcement career after beating up an innocent man. For being 10 over the speed limit, former East Cleveland police officer Nicholas Foti stomped ruthlessly on a suspect's head for no legitimate reason. The suspect was on the ground, completely under control, yet it did not stop the cop from treating him inhumanely. But soon after that high-speed nighttime chase, Nicholas Foti was sentenced to 100 hours of community service and 18 months of probation by Cuyahoga County Court of Common Pleas Judge Andrew Santoli. The sentencing was followed by Foti's guilty plea to the assault on November 27th, and as part of the plea deal, he agreed to permanently surrender his OPODA certification, ending his law enforcement career. The case was part of a broader investigation led by Cuyahoga County prosecutor Michael O'Malley. who revealed that 16 former or current East Cleveland police officers had been indicted for crimes since late 2022. With that, we have our next cop who decided to play the victim card, but couldn't get away. Sometimes, karma has a way of striking back when you least expect it. On October 17, 2021, this retired nurse suffered a severe head injury after being slammed to the ground while handcuffed, receiving no mercy or kindness.
In the car. You're insane! You're insane!
From former Athens Clark police officer Roger Williams. Soon after the incident, Williams was dismissed from his position and job, as deserved. While attempting to apprehend the nurse outside her residence, Williams slammed her unnecessarily on the concrete, resulting in her head striking the ground. Following an internal investigation, he was fired on May 4, 2022, a decision later affirmed by a personnel review board. In response, Williams filed a federal lawsuit against the Athens Clarke County government, alleging racial discrimination following his termination for excessive use of force after assaulting the nurse. The lawsuit, lodged in the U.S. Middle District Court of Georgia, claimed that Williams, a black officer, was unjustly fired, while several white officers accused of similar or more severe infractions remained employed. The suit underscored a pattern of no accountability for white officers who committed similar offenses, including excessive force, making racially charged remarks, improperly accessing police databases, and even embezzling funds. Williams asserted that his race played a crucial role in his termination, pointing out that his supervising officer repeatedly violated excessive force policies without facing any discipline. Williams sought compensation for back pay, lost benefits, punitive damages, and legal fees, but got nothing whatsoever. The greed of these evil cops has no limit because they will betray you when you least expect it. 15 years of service later, our next evil cop will show you that the infamous cop, greed, neither has a limit nor an end. Officer Henry Chapman from the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department thought he could outsmart the system and pocket $900 from a suspect in his custody.
What is my money on the film right there, guys? What is that? That's my money.
But his greed was soon exposed.
Oh, that's my money. He didn't have that.
This is your money?
Yes, I heard him crumble it up. Thank you. Thank you.
And justice quickly caught up with him. It all started with a routine traffic stop where a man, wanted by U.S. Marshals for a weapons violation, was pulled over for speeding. During the search, officers found 2 bundles of cash. Here, Officer Chapman arrives on the scene and begins eyeing the money. As he escorts the suspect to the back of the patrol car, Chapman slyly places the suspect's belongings, including the cash, by his driver's seat. Then, the body cam mysteriously shuts off. But the suspect isn't about to let this slide. He insists that his money is missing, specifically blue hundreds, and claims that Chapman took it. Other officers listen with skepticism, but decide to search Chapman's car. There, they find $900 stashed in the driver's side door. Chapman's desperate attempt to steal from a suspect under his custody unraveled within hours. By nightfall, the same badge that had shielded him for 15 years was his undoing. Charged with embezzlement and tampering with his body cam, he left the force in utter disgrace. Chief Johnny Jennings condemned Chapman's actions, calling them a contradiction to what we stand for, and the department distanced itself from the betrayal of trust.